Hello everyone, and welcome to the show that's more fun than realizing you left your wallet at home and now you're holding 17 items in the express lane. We're talking about sovereign debt, which is basically a fancy way of saying countries owing massive piles of cash. So how do countries dig themselves out of a debt hole deeper than a Nickelback fan's Spotify playlist? Let's get into it, shall we? All right. So your country's in a bit of a financial pickle. The economy is struggling and the national debt is skyrocketing. It's a situation that can feel overwhelming and insurmountable. You owe more money than a casino owner in an inflatable raft full of anvils. The weight of the debt is dragging the country down, and it seems like there's no way out. What do you do? Well, the first step is to pick up the phone and no, not to order another diamond-encrusted backscratcher. It's time to take action and start the process of renegotiation. It's time to call your creditors and have a little chat. This conversation is crucial, as it sets the stage for the negotiations that will follow. The goal here is to renegotiate the terms of your debt. This means sitting down with your creditors and discussing new terms that are more manageable for your country. Ideally, you want to extend the repayment period, lower those pesky interest rates, or, if you're really lucky, get some of the debt forgiven altogether. These changes can provide much-needed relief and give your country some breathing room. And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can try a debt swap. This involves exchanging your current debt for new debt with different terms, which can sometimes be more favorable. Think of it as the barter system for the financially challenged nation-state. By trading one form of debt for another, you might find a way to ease the financial burden and set your country on a path to recovery. Okay, so you've renegotiated your debt. Think of it as hitting the snooze button on a very loud, very persistent alarm clock. You've bought yourself some time, but the problem isn't going away. Now it's time for some good old-fashioned fiscal consolidation. In layman's terms, it's time to cut spending and increase revenue. This means taking a machete to unnecessary government spending. We're talking slashing subsidies, freezing public sector wages, and generally being more careful about where those taxpayer dollars are going, but cutting spending is only half the battle. You also need to find ways to increase revenue. Sensible tax reforms? Anyone? Let's be honest, relying on a single export is about as risky as building a house on a foundation of jelly beans. So, if you're serious about escaping the debt trap, you need to diversify your economy like your life depends on it. This means branching out into new industries and reducing your dependence on those fickle global commodities markets. Instead, let's focus on boosting exports. Finding your niche in the global market is key to bringing in that sweet, sweet foreign exchange. And while we're at it, let's not forget about our good friend domestic production. By promoting domestic industries and encouraging import substitution, we can keep those precious foreign currency reserves nice and healthy. Look, I get it. When you're drowning in debt, the last thing you want to think about is spending even more money. It feels counterintuitive, right? You're already struggling to make ends meet, so why would you want to add another expense to your list? But here's the thing, not all spending is created equal. There's a big difference between spending money on something that will give you a temporary fix and investing in something that will provide long-term benefits. Some spending, my friends, is actually an investment in your future. It's about making smart choices today that will pay off tomorrow. Think of it as the difference between buying a lottery ticket and investing in a good pair of work boots. One is a gamble with slim chances of success, while the other is a practical choice that will serve you well for years. We're talking about investing in things like infrastructure, education and healthcare. Boring, maybe, but these are the pillars that support a thriving society. But these are the foundations of a strong, resilient economy. Imagine a world where roads are well maintained, schools are well funded, and hospitals are equipped with the latest technology, and a strong economy, my friends, is the key to escaping the debt trap. It creates jobs, boosts incomes, and provides opportunities for everyone to succeed. And while we're on the subject of investing in the future, let's not forget about our old pal foreign direct investment. This brings in capital, creates jobs, and fosters innovation. So, next time you think about spending, consider it an investment in a brighter, more prosperous future. Currency manipulation. Sounds shady, doesn't it? Well, it can be, but it can also be a necessary evil in the world of international finance. One of the tools in your arsenal is devaluation. By making your currency cheaper relative to others, you can make your exports more attractive and your imports less so. Of course, this can also backfire spectacularly if it leads to hyperinflation. Central banks need to channel their inner disciplinarian and keep a tight lid on inflation, or risk facing the wrath of rising borrowing costs. All right, let's face it. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you just can't go it alone. You need a helping hand, a shoulder to cry on, a friendly billionaire to swoop in and bail you out. In the world of sovereign debt, your friends come in the form of multilateral institutions, like the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. Now, these institutions aren't just going to hand over a blank check and tell you to have a good time. They'll probably make you jump through a few hoops first. You know that friend we all have? The one who constantly complains about being broke, yet somehow always seems to have money for designer coffee and avocado toast? Yeah, that's not a good look for a country struggling with debt. If you want the world to take your financial woes seriously, you need to prove that you're serious about cleaning up your act. And by act, I mean your government. Corruption, my friends, is like a nasty rash on the body politic. It's unsightly, it's uncomfortable, and it can take a long time to heal. It's time to embrace transparency like it's your long-lost twin. Remember when you were a kid and you used to stash your allowance in that little piggy bank shaped like a cow? Or maybe that was just me. It wasn't much, but it gave you a sense of security, knowing you had a little something stashed away for a rainy day. Well, the same principle applies to nations. Encouraging domestic savings is like building a giant national piggy bank. But how do you convince people to save when they're struggling to make ends meet? Well, for starters, you need to make saving accessible. We're talking about promoting financial inclusion, especially for the unbanked and underbanked populations. Okay, so you've slashed spending, raised revenue, diversified your economy, and maybe even started a national piggy bank. You're practically a financial role model, the Marie Kondo of the international finance world. But sometimes, even the most responsible countries need to borrow a little cash. But here's the key, not all debt is created equal. Borrowing to invest in infrastructure projects that will boost your economy, now we're talking. Congratulations, my friend. You've reached the final chapter, the summit of Mount Fiscal Responsibility, the promised land of debt-free living. But you persevered, and now you're finally free from the shackles of debt dependency. But before you get too comfortable, remember that staying out of debt requires constant vigilance. It's like maintaining a healthy weight. It takes effort, discipline, and the occasional sacrifice. Because when you're no longer beholden to creditors, you're free to chart your own course, invest in your people, and build a brighter future. So there you have it, a crash course in escaping the debt trap. We've covered the essentials, but remember, this is just the beginning of your journey towards financial freedom. It's not easy, it takes discipline, and it definitely requires fewer solid gold pigeons, but it is possible. The road to a debt-free future is paved with careful planning, smart decisions, and a commitment to change. By combining the strategies we've discussed, from renegotiating debt to diversifying your economy, you can create a robust financial foundation. This means looking at various sectors like agriculture, technology, and manufacturing to ensure a balanced and resilient economy. Embracing the power of the piggy bank is more than just a metaphor. It's about fostering a culture of saving and investing. Countries can break free from the shackles of debt and build a brighter future for their citizens by encouraging financial literacy and responsible spending. Every country's situation is unique, like a snowflake or a particularly stubborn strain of the flu. Each has its own challenges and opportunities, and there is no one-size-fits-all solution. But one thing is certain, with a little bit of ingenuity, a lot of hard work, and maybe a healthy dose of fear of ending up like that guy who bought the golden jet ski, you can make significant progress. It's about making smart choices and avoiding unnecessary extravagance. Any country can escape the debt trap and achieve lasting economic stability. It requires a collective effort from government officials, businesses, and citizens alike. Together, we can create a future where financial growth and stability are not just dreams, but reality.